Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be part 3 of my journey through orthodontic surgery, aka corrective double jaw surgery. If you haven't seen them, I will be linking part 1 and part 2 because you get to see me in part 1 arriving in Korea, kind of meeting the doctors and everything through Docfinderkorea and View Plastic Surgery, which I'm doing these videos in collaboration with. You get to hear my list of reasons why I needed to go through this surgery, and then part 2 you get to see me recovering basically right after the surgery till 3 months later. In this video I will be answering some of your most asked questions, basically prices, why Korea, why Docfinderkorea and View Plastic Surgery, and overall just giving you an update because I'm currently 4 months post-op, so kind of letting you know if you are going through the surgery too, what to expect and how I'm feeling so you can kind of compare. One of the questions that I got was why Docfinderkorea, why View Plastic Surgery? Well, I think like a lot of you, I saw the videos going around on YouTube, so I knew that they were a well-known company and that they were completely free. So basically I wouldn't have to worry about booking a taxi from the airport, that they would take care of my hotel, that they would take care of booking the appointments with doctors, kind of helping me decide which one I should go with, translate if need be, etc, etc. So that peace of mind was definitely a huge factor. They gave me a list of possible clinics and I was able to do my own research, and I was comfortable with View Plastic Surgery because of the reviews online, the fact that they never had any incident. There was also the factor that doctors were very familiar with the surgery. It's not uncommon over there to get double jaw surgery. Over here, I had obviously met some doctors that told me that I would benefit from the surgery and that if I didn't do it, because a lot of people chicken out and I almost did, there's obviously some possible consequences long term. For example, I had broken a tooth from one side from using it too much, overusing it. So it wasn't unbelievable that long term I would probably break more damage, possibly lose some and everything. So those were factors obviously that made me really want to get the surgery. I also had access to really great doctors over there. I feel like they do this all day, every day. And I knew that there was a strong possibility I wasn't going to need to be tied shut, which if the doctor had said that I needed it, I would have, but here wasn't an option to not be, and having to have like my jaws attached together for 46 weeks was definitely stressing me out. So even just the possibility was definitely something that I considered. And being able to see the before after online, seeing all the reviews and everything was definitely really helping me calming down and make that decision. Obviously, personally, I did it through a collaboration, so I got a good discount. So while not completely free, it was definitely going to be much cheaper than if I had done it here. If you've seen part 1, you've seen that at View Plastic Surgery, they have that program where they take a bunch of pictures of your face and you get to see what you would look like, because it is so difficult to imagine what you're going to look like after double jaw surgery. Your jaw makes a huge difference for your face, and it's really just hard to imagine like they're gonna break both of your jaws, or at least they did for me, and place them in a different position, but what am I gonna look like? Like, I'm scared, you know, to not recognize myself. What if I hate it and everything? So being able to see that and then being able to give some feedback was definitely very helpful too. So obviously there are so many different factors to consider if you are interested. The fact, you know, if you live somewhere where healthcare costs a lot of money, that might be cheaper over there. If you have no insurance, especially, if you might not be comfortable with doctors around you, if you're not finding a lot of reviews or possible before after, I know it can be stressful. If you have someone that doesn't mind going with you, which obviously I had someone come with me for my first 2 weeks. So obviously those are things to keep in mind, but I can't give you an exact price just because everyone is going to be so different. However, you can always message them. I will link down below, you know, their information and everything, so you can message them, send them pictures, and they can give you a better idea, because what I did might not be what you need to do, you know what I mean? But I can tell you, give you a vague idea that I could have done this surgery like 2-3 times in Korea instead of the US. So that kind of gives you an idea of price. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. These canines. My teeth moved. It was not on purpose. For some reason, a lot of people thought I did that on purpose. It's pretty much the fact that I had to wear elastics to close my bite so I could bite. And while my elastic were bringing down my 4 front teeth, my canines decided to go up. So I will be getting that fixed soon. Frankly, I think that is the main reason people are even noticing. Like, I am still a bit swollen, but I think that the teeth are the most obvious change at this point. So it's gonna be temporary. It's gonna get fixed. Probably by the same time I will be unswollen and unstiff, and I will look pretty much the same, I think. Like, obviously there are going to be some slight changes. My face will be a little shorter and everything, but I think that after a year, which I think that's the thing, a lot of people are used to seeing the before after that is done after a year. So that's why people thought this was very drastic. But I think that once everything is done, the changes will be fairly minimal, which is what I wanted. Also, people were asking me if I was happy with my choices to do it over there. Yes, I don't think my surgery could have went any better, really. I'm obviously very early in my recovery, which some people might not realize, but at this point I'm 4 months post-op. It takes at least a year to recover. And actually, let me do the update to let you know how things are going, because there's a lot, and I would personally like, or have liked, to know these things if I were someone that was considering getting the surgery. Obviously, your healing is going to depend on what you needed. Personally, I think my main struggle is the fact that I had a cant occlusion. So basically, one side of my mouth was, my jaws was longer, and they had to move it up 3 millimeters. So things are healing slower on that side because of it. Personally, I feel pretty good at this point. I would say like eating is probably like 90% normal. I'm not going to eat nuts or baby carrots, as I've been joking around, for a little while longer. However, I can bite from the front. I can eat a sandwich. Maybe not something too crazy like pita bread, you know, biting and like pulling. That would be a bit too much because most of my teeth are still numb. But because of the cant occlusion, this side is definitely more stiff still. If I compare it, basically you might be able to tell. I will include before after pictures in a second, but this is where I had my plates and screws. So I have some here, some here, some here, and some here. I am full of metal, and no, when I go to the airport, nothing is beeping. I got that question a few times. So this is basically where I'm left with still some swelling and some numbness at this point. I feel like if I'm not moving, and like, let me include some like really pretty good angle picture, you can see that I look fine now in those pictures. If you see me moving around, it's obviously easier to see which side is stiffer, but most of my swelling is definitely here, which is still kind of puffy. And around here, I feel like you can see it. My nose is definitely still swollen. And like I said, this side is definitely more stiff. So when I smile, if I do it without forcing myself, it's still a little crooked. But if I know now, because I've been practicing in front of a mirror, how to smile straight. It's just that this side is still very, very stiff. So if I smile like I would now, like, it looks mostly straight at this point. This side of the cheek feels pretty darn normal at this point. I just feel, you know, these little plates pulling a little bit, the stiffness, but it's a good sign. It means that I'm actually feeling that part, because at the beginning you can't feel that. And I'm starting to actually feel this part being stiff, so it means once again that it's coming back, so all good. I've also been getting jolts of pain in right here, basically around my chin. So my chin, I don't really mind being numb, to be honest. Like, I can feel my skin, which is what matters. Actually, I never really had that much skin that was numb, so I didn't have to worry. I know some of the people, they'll have food and they can't feel it. Didn't happen to me, luckily, but the chin inside is definitely still numb. I don't really feel it unless I do those like exercises where I like look crazy, but basically bringing my jaw like more forward, I can feel it being stiff, but otherwise on a daily basis it really doesn't bother me. As far as inside my mouth, this is where there have been some progress. When I posted my video at 3 months post-op, I was just starting to get some tingles in the front, on the roof of my mouth. Now it's like tingle city. The first like half of the top part of my mouth is all tingles. So every time I talk and my tongue touches it, it's like kind of weird. And then I'm starting to actually get, like the last few days, some really intense one in my teeth in the back, which means that they should come back soon. Obviously, if you are post-op, keep in mind it takes a whole year at least. And even some of the people will tell you like 2 years later, they might start feeling their chin and they couldn't before. So my progress will be very slow. I will probably update you like every 2 months or something, just to let you know how things are going. But at this point, I feel pretty normal. Oh, I forgot to mention it. I can totally open my mouth 3 fingers. I know that's something that people have to practice. I didn't have to. I don't know if it's because, again, I didn't have to be tight shut, so it wasn't as hard for me to get it back. But before surgery, I could open my mouth 3.5 fingers. I've always had a pretty small mouth, so let's try 3 fingers, because I didn't do any exercise beforehand, but it's all back. I know some people were also curious how people reacted in real life. I think I have really nice people around me, like a little too nice sometimes, because when I first came back from Korea, I was like 1 month-ish post-op, and I had to go to the grocery store to hoard ice cream. And I was being told, no, no, you look fine. Nobody's going to be able to tell. And then I arrived to the grocery store and everyone was staring. I definitely was not looking normal. But I would say that after like 2-3 months, nobody will notice. Like straight up, people don't even know I got this done. So that's kind of why I was a little shocked by some people's reaction on the internet being like, oh my God, you look completely different. And I'm like, my own coworkers can't tell. So if you are worried about it, don't be. A lot of people also asked me if I got anything else done because I was so swollen. People thought I had like something done to my eyes or my nose, which I did not. I took pictures like a month straight every day, and I included that in part 2 if you want to see it, but I didn't do anything else. It's just you're so swollen, which let me include the official after from View Plastic Surgery. We did a photo shoot, and this is 3 weeks after surgery. So I was so swollen, like up to my eyes. So plus they did my makeup Korean style, so obviously it's going to be different. But if I stop moving, you can see me. Things are definitely a lot less swollen at this point, and my eyes are definitely back to normal. My nose is still swollen. I would say that like at 3 months it stopped like hurting. It wasn't pain. It's just like, you know, when you press and you just hit it type of thing. Now it doesn't really feel like this, but it definitely still feel swollen, especially around here, probably because once again of the plates. I also got questioned as to if I were to do it all over again, would I use Docfinderkorea? Would I use View Plastic Surgery? Yes, absolutely. I have zero complaints about the services I got. Like I said, Docfinderkorea took care of everything, so I didn't have to think about anything because I was so out of it after surgery. I didn't realize how long the brain fog would affect me. I was like, it was hard to focus basically. And I had amazing service at View Plastic Surgery. You saw it, even the aftercare and everything. Zero complaint. I don't think the surgery could have went any better than it did, so absolutely. I also really appreciated how everything was under the same roof at View Plastic Surgery. So basically I would have my room on one floor, and then I would go up or down to meet the dentists or the doctors or have my treatments and everything. So basically Anna from Docfinderkorea would come and get me, and then we would go to my appointments. So not having to even walk anywhere if I didn't want to was great. Although over there it's very, very common for people to walk around with, you know, everything going on. Now I'm sure you all want to see some official before after, so let's do it once again. You can probably tell that the swelling has been going down quite a bit. My lips are back, by the way. Some people after surgery to get, you know, really swollen lips. Mine completely disappeared, so I think they're fully back at this point. But you can see my nose is calming down. My eyes are back to normal, but this is what I look like from the front. 4 months post-op. Last main question was, do I feel better? Was it all worth it? And obviously it's going to be different for everyone, although they do have that saying that if you ask someone that has double jaw surgery the first week after the surgery if it was worth it, most of them would tell you no, and that after a year they would tell you it was. Obviously I'm not a year later, but at this point I will tell you that breathing wise, because I had sleep apnea, which is terrifying, I have not slept once with my mouth open since the surgery. I am also not favoring my left side anymore. I know that when I talk it looks that way because of the stiffness, but when I'm chewing, which is the important part, I'm chewing evenly. So that should fix any issue or future complication. I should not break more teeth. Overall, I do think I am standing better position-wise because I had developed the head tilt to compensate. I hadn't noticed that, the doctor did for me. I do think I am getting better with this. Obviously, sometimes I'll catch myself and I fix it, but it's going to be, you know, it's work in progress. But overall, I don't have that pain in my shoulder anymore. Could also be the fact that I'm sleeping now on my back, which is probably very helpful. It was a little hard to get used to, but now I am good. So yeah, no more pain. And then overall, can I breathe better? There's obviously an improvement since I've been sleeping better. There's definitely still some swelling, so things could still improve. However, I can still feel, you know, in the second video I was saying I could feel air through my sinuses, which I haven't felt in like forever. And I would say in this side, probably 80% of the time I can feel that, which is so weird. It's like tingly. This side, it's still so-so. Obviously the surgery, there was nothing done to my sinuses. So, you know, I didn't get a nose job or anything or a septoplasty. So I wasn't expecting any miracles, but the fact that, again, I haven't been sleeping with my mouth open and that I can see an improvement overall, I'm very happy. I think this is most of the things I was dealing with. So I think at this point it's pretty clear that it was definitely worth it for me. Psychologically though, it has been more difficult than I thought it would be. Just being honest, just putting it out there, I was definitely prepared mentally for the struggle for the first month. Like, I knew, Emily, you're gonna look like a potato and it's fine. I mean, you just have major surgery. You're not gonna recognize yourself. But at that point, it was almost a little funny. Like, when I have that picture a week after surgery, I've been joking around that I look like one of those puppies that ate like a bee. And I look back and I think it's almost cute. You know what I mean? But I would say that it hit me about a month and a half, 2 months in during my recovery, that I was starting to struggle with the way I looked because I was ready to be okay. You know what I mean? I could start eating more, well, solid, more like soft food. And I was struggling with the fact that I would feel somewhat normal and then see myself and be like, oh, I don't look normal. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I think that personally the hardest part was to come back on YouTube. At 3 months, I did my, you know, second video. And it's the internet, so obviously the comments were definitely harsh, people not, you know, watching the video and just judging based on a thumbnail. Mentally, I think this was the toughest part for me. But I think most people that get this surgery will not post it on the internet, so you should be just fine. In my daily life though, everyone maybe has been very, very nice, but like I was saying, nobody's noticing. And then when I show them the before after x-rays and everything, everyone is very fascinated and they can see the result and they're very happy that I'm obviously feeling better. But the changes are not as drastic as you think. They will be, obviously you will see it, and if you see the before after next to each other, you can notice it. But people don't look at you as much as you do, so if that's something that worries you, really don't. I would say after 3-4 months, you're gonna feel normal enough that it won't bother you. I think that's gonna be it for my 4 months post-op surgery video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section if you have anything else you would like me to answer, and I'll do so probably in my 6 months post-op, whenever I will be wearing braces at that point, or possibly Invisaligns. So you might see some progress with my teeth, and hopefully by that time, I will get more tingles on this side and everything will be back to normal, less swelling and everything. Obviously things are very, very slow at this point, but I still think that you can see some progress between, you know, first, second, third, and now 4th month. So I think that's going to be it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe because you definitely don't want to miss any future videos and any future updates on the chipmunk cheeks. And I will be putting other videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.